Hours ago, IIT Kanpur's Professor Maninder Agarwal released a study at Uttar Pradesh Lok Bhavan in Lucknow. The study points out at a very significant fact that unemployment rate during COVID's wave in UP was half of the national average. These are important statistics. To talk more about this, we are joined by Maninder Agarwal himself in Lucknow today. Considering the fact that today you just released a study which sort of compares the data of different states with that of Uttar Pradesh, what was the reason that this study was released and what are the results of this study?
We looked at this data related to UP and other states from the perspective of understanding the responses of various states to the COVID second wave. Now, UP was particularly interesting, firstly, of course, because I belong to Uttar Pradesh, and also because UP adopted the strategy of keeping the economy open and at the same time trying to contain the pandemic spread, which is a very difficult task. So, from the looks of it, it appeared that this government had managed it well, but it is always good not to go by perception and look at the data and the analysis to conclude whether something happened really well or not. And the basic conclusion that we came about was that it was indeed managed extremely well. For example, the economy went along strongly. That is reflected in the net unemployment rate of UP dropping from 11% to 4% during the period of pandemic. This was partly facilitated by by large-scale skill mapping of people or workers, and then trying to accommodate them in various projects.
The Shramiks who came from different states.
From various states also. Bringing in a lot more NREGA schemes, and of course a large number of infrastructure projects going on in this state which were continued, which all together combined to bring down the unemployment rate. Also, another point is that more than a couple of lakh licenses were given for new businesses by the state. So that if you give such large number of licenses, clearly that would lead to...
So does that mean that even during COVID wave, the UP government went ahead and gave these licenses?
That's right.
Even when people were struggling to open businesses in other states?
Yes, that's correct. Now, on the other hand, when you open up the economy, and rather not close the economy, there is always the risk that the pandemic will spread very fast because people are moving around. And that requires very careful handling. And there again, the government succeeded to quite a large extent. Firstly, if we see that the restriction, there were certainly restriction measures that were imposed, for example, night curfew or weekend curfew. Also, large-scale gatherings were prohibited. But this is not sufficient. What is really required in order to contain the fast spread is that whenever you detect a cluster of cases and you have an option of locking down the entire area, but that will hinder the economic activity. So if you don't want to hinder economic activity, you do what is called a micro-containment zone. So you have to create large number of micro-containment zones in each district if required, and that managing that is very tricky. Yet, our data analysis shows that these measures were successful to the extent that the number of cases could potentially have been twice without them than they were actually. So, UP hit around 35,000 cases per day at its peak. This could have crossed 70,000 if these steps were not taken. So, despite not imposing a complete or strict lockdown, these measures that were put in place, which allowed economic activities, and at the same time they were able to control the spread to an extent. This was also helped by a very extensive testing and treatment strategy at the village level. A large number of teams were created whose job at the village level was to continuously monitor and see whenever there is a potential case to immediately give the necessary medication and isolate. So these worked quite well. Again, that's what the data tells us, because we have a special measure called the normalized test positivity rate that whose value determines whether you have what kind of testing strategy you have put in place. Is it targeted testing, or is it very extensive testing which we call chasing the pandemic? So you are trying to continuously trying to contain the pandemic, not allow it to spread wildly.
Also, Mr. Agarwal, considering the fact that the surge of COVID during the second wave was mostly observed in Kerala and Maharashtra, when you compare, as I see even in the study which has been published and shared this afternoon, I see that the comparisons have been made even with a state like Bihar, Kerala and Maharashtra. When you draw the comparisons between all of these states, where do you find the reason the surge for in these states and the economic activity, whether or not there was a lockdown in UP at that particular time or in other states as well? How do you compare that?
There is a very clear difference in these strategies adopted by Kerala, Maharashtra vis-a-vis UP. Maharashtra imposed a very strict lockdown early on in April. Kerala also at some point in April imposed a very fairly strict lockdown. Because that's it's easier to control the pandemic that way. UP's strategy was risky, and it required, like I said, very careful and extended implementation. And I was explaining that our notion of normalized test positivity rate that measures what was the test strategy it followed. So if it is significantly more than 1, it means that the state is adopted for a targeted testing, focusing on those who are more likely to be sick, and then testing and isolating them.
Right.
If it is much less than 1, it means that the strategy is to do very extensive testing, which we call chasing the pandemic, in order to control it as much as possible.
Was there any specific period between which you compared this?
Compared it through the entire pandemic period, right from April 2020 till June 2021.
So what was it like?
So some very interesting facts came out. Kerala, in middle of last year, they adopted the strategy of chasing the pandemic, and they were quite successful at it. In fact, it was pretty much in the media that Kerala has managed to control the pandemic very well. But then over time, especially at the time second wave came, that strategy changed into the other one, that is targeted testing one. That normalized test positivity rate, our ratio, that went up to 3, 4 for Kerala, which indicates very strongly that that's a change in strategy there. And as a result, they were not able to control it very well. Maharashtra, in fact, consistently has been targeted testing strategy right from the beginning. So they haven't really changed that. On the other hand, if you look at the UP, this is very remarkable that right from the beginning, they have been chasing the pandemic. All the time, going after it, trying to control it. The normalized TPR is consistently well below 1. And that is a key or essential component when you want to keep the economy open and yet control the pandemic. Without that, it is not possible.
So my question here is also because Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, along with Madhya Pradesh and Bihar, happen to be those states which have huge population. Even if you compare the sample size of COVID's positivity in one particular district of Maharashtra to that of Uttar Pradesh, I believe that maybe during second COVID wave, correct me if I'm wrong, UP may have seen more COVID cases than Maharashtra's one district. Is that true? Even if the sampling size of the testing was bigger in UP than Maharashtra. So how would that affect the overall positivity rate and overall recovery rate?
That's a very interesting question, and it requires proper addressing, because just looking at the number of tests is not sufficient, as you said, because the population sizes are different. Even looking at test positivity rate is not sufficient, because suppose 100% population of a region is infected, then no matter how many tests you do, test positivity rate will always be 100%. So it really doesn't tell you anything.
Right.
So that's why our normalized test positivity rate, as we defined, which is a ratio of test positivity rate and percentage of infected population. So this takes out the factor of what percentage of population is infected, only focuses on the strategy that is adopted. And UP has, like I said, consistently adopted the chasing of the pandemic strategy. Now, one would typically expect that the chasing of pandemic would mean that the spread of the pandemic will be very less, which in turn means that the infected population or immune population will be low. On the other hand, if you look at the survey of ICMR, UP actually has a higher percentage of immune population than Kerala and Maharashtra.
What could be the reason?
Now, how did that happen? That's real. Despite chasing the pandemic consistently, how is it that immune population of UP is higher?
Right.
Here is an explanation of that, and there can be other explanation, but in my view, that seems most reasonable one. That if you look at the way this pandemic spreads, it is cluster-wise. Now, when I say cluster, what I mean is me and all the person I regularly meet form a cluster. Because if one of them in this cluster gets infected, there is a good chance that others will also, it will spread within the cluster.
Right.
And that's how it goes cluster to cluster.
Right.
Now, when a chasing of pandemic strategy, you find 1 or 2 persons in a cluster positive, then you test the entire cluster, because you don't want it to further spread. And in UP, despite that strategy, large number of infections did take place, that's as evidenced by large immunity. What this suggests is that there were a very large number of clusters that were totally asymptomatic.
Right.
So even the cluster people didn't know that they were infected. So of course nobody will know they were infected, but they got immune.
Right.
Which also suggests that percentage or fraction of asymptomatic cases in UP were significantly higher than in, say, Kerala or Maharashtra or other states. Why did that happen? I think this is something that needs to be studied. There could be biological reasons for it, there could be environmental reasons for it, there could be so many other possible reasons. Now, people have made guesses that some UP has used ivermectin very extensively, perhaps that caused it.
But was it the case?
I don't know. These are the things that need to be properly studied. I haven't seen a proper study of this. It is a phenomenon that we have observed from data. Now, to explain the reason behind it, one needs people from the biological side to look at it, do a proper study and make a conclusion.